Hi everyone. So, have you ever wondered why young children can learn English so fast when they are playing, but they will get bored when just a few minutes of sitting still? Alright, so today I'm really excited because we will talk about the nature of young learners. So, first of all, everyone, let's start from here. All right. What are young learners? So, everyone, young learners are children aged 2 until 12 years old who are learning English. They are not just small adults, they can think, learn, and develop differently. When we read through this, that is according to Jan Fige, children are active thinkers who build knowledge through exploration and also experience. So that is young learners that what we call young learners. Okay. After that, so today what will we discuss? The first thing we will discuss about characteristic of young learners and then how young children learn, and the last, we will discuss about how to deal with different types of learners. All right, so we will move to the first that is about characteristics of young learners. So everyone, young learners are really special because they are very active and energetic, and also in that age they love to move. That is why we call kinesthetic. And then they are also have a short attention to something. So and then they are also extremely curious and imaginative, and then learn best through concrete experience, and then develop in three areas. So in that as they are also developed in many things, we can mention that is based on the physical, cognitive, and also social emotional. So that's why in this age we need the best method to teach them and with a good method. All right, that is the characteristic of young learners. And then we will move to the age of the groups that what we call young learners. All right. The first is pre-primary, that is start from 2 until 5 years. In this age, they are very active, short attention, and very curious. And then to lower primary, that is from a 6 until 9 years, they are handwriting and then get better and they are start to follow the rules. So in this age, they are we will start to understand about what the rules that we can say when we learn that is. And then the last is over primary, that is from 10 until 12 years. In this age, we know that they are more independent and they are really easy to, yeah, more independent. All right, and then we will, so that is the age groups of young learners. And then after we know the characteristic of young learner, we want to mention one of the most important theories come from Piaget. He said children think differently from adults, not just less intelligent. So he introduced some key concept that is have schema, assimilation, accommodation, and also adaptation. So that's like a mental framework to understand the world, then assimilation, accommodation, and adaptation. Basically, children learn by exploring, experimenting, and interacting with everything around them. Okay, that is the key concept from Piaget. And then now let's move to how children learn. So, all right, this is the three important heuristics from the expert. Start from Jan Piaget. Believe that children are active learners and also thinkers. And then going to the second is from Lev Vygotsky. They him believe that children learn through social interaction and also have a zone of proximal development or ZVD, and also teacher provides scaffolding. And then the last, it is Jerome Brunner. It is about learning through scaffolding discovery. This is the way two children learn. So the teacher's job is not to lecture, but to guide the children. All right. After we know the characteristic and also how children learn, let's move to the next that is about how children learn in practice. In a real practice, children learn best by doing. We should use real object. We call them realia. They learn through experience and action by playing, exploring, and interacting with others. Teacher act as guides, not just lectures. For example, if we want to teach the word scissors, it's much better to give them a real scissors to try rather than just explain it on the board. Another example, when we want to learn about fruits, it's mean we need to bring a real fruits that is in a real practice. And yeah, and then after we know this, I'm also know about how children learn a foreign language. So, learning English as a foreign language has its own challenge because in many countries, English is rarely used outside the classroom. So, this is one of the challenges when we are being an English teacher in Indonesian. So, the best way to teach uh, the first, we need to use a meaningful context. Uh, Maybe the example is we can use stories, songs, cartoons. A meaningful context in here means we need to being an average teacher because we need to make them real interesting to English first. It is not focused on the lesson, but make them enthusiastic about English first. And then we need to learn grammar through repetition and different contexts. So when we teach about English and maybe and then we explain about grammar, it is need to repetition, repetition and repetition, and with a different context, not only in one context, and also not only focused to explanation today are because for young learners it will be get bored. So make our materials very interesting. And then please create an English speaking environment. Make the environment it's comfortable to doing practice. And then the last is our techniques. We use a great visual. Maybe we can make the slide look like really interesting and related to young learners, of course. And then please use our gestures and body movement when we teach. Please not only stay in one place, but we need to attach all the student and make interaction. And then don't forget to being a modeling for their eye, because they are really easy to get bored. So we need to be active with a good gesture and body movement. So that is the way to teach a foreign language. Okay, we will move to the next, that is about how about the different types of learners. So we know that not all children learn the same way. Common learning styles like there are visual learners in the class. Of course, we have a various of student, right? So that is a visual learners. They all will need to a picture. Maybe we can teach with use picture, flashcards, or videos. And then when we find auditory learners, maybe we can play a song, stories. And then when we have a kinesthetic learners, we will need to make a game or TVR, total physical response, because it is it is the different types of learners. So this is the way, this way every child can enjoy learning and there's own style. So when we get one class, we need to be observer first and see what the types of the learners, that is visual learners or auditory learners or kinesthetic learners. So we need, after we know, we need to make that balance in the class. Okay, so that is about different type of learners. Okay, and then all right, after we know the type, so how to deal with different type of learners? Before I mentioned a little about that, but after that we need to make a very activist in every lesson, and then use a scaffolding, like what Brunner and Vygotsky said. for each child, and then combine all style in one activity. Make sure in that activity use reading, for practice a reading, a listening, and then speaking, of course. And then don't forget for give praise and positive feedback to they are. Maybe some, and then sometimes we need to use group work and fair work. So that is the way to deal with different type of learners. All right, so that's all about the nature of young learners. So the conclusion is understanding the nature of young learners help us create fun, meaningful, and effective English lesson. Make learning active, make learning social, and make learning varied. So that's all from me. Bye bye.